Dark Gallifrey is a 24 release epic coming from Big Finish over the coming months and years. It's all kicking off in April, early April 2024, with Morbius Part 1. So
It's
not too
Morbin
long away
time.
now. It is indeed. But we're still somewhat in the dark as to what exactly Dark Gallifrey is, I think it's fair
Mhm.
to say. So we're just making a video chatting about it, really, chatting about what we do know.
What we know so
Uh,
far, yeah.
yeah, I mean, most of this is coming from this wonderful little blog post by Tim Foley, who is, of course, a very prolific Big Finish writer. One of both our favourites, if not our favourite, of
Yeah,
recent
yeah.
years. I think it's fair to say he has come up with some bangers. And when they gave us more details on Dark Gallifrey Morbius and revealed that it was a three-parter, all written by Tim Foley, with Tom Baker sprinkled in at the end there. It was like, you got to be. Suddenly, we were drawn in a way.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
because, it's just an irresistible combination, isn't it? Particularly long form stories by Tim Foley. His Autumn Infinity and The Friend of the Family
Hmm.
are two incredible stories. So, it just, yeah, I have faith in Tim Foley.
Yeah,
And this
he can
was,
do no wrong.
yeah, this was started back in 2021 when he first started writing this. So yeah, this is something that unsurprisingly has been in the works for a long while. We know how Big Finish work.
Mhm.
They are spinning many plates at the same time. But yeah, this seems to be something very different. They've said writer-led in news articles. Tim Foley goes into a bit more detail as to what that means. Seemingly very much putting the writer first and letting them have the freedom of
It's
what
creative
kind of
risk,
story they want to
isn't it?
tell. Yeah. And it seems like each of these trilogies will be just, written by one writer. Uh, and, it's them getting to play in this world with these villainous characters with an overarching elements tying into it, but a variety of tones across their variety of different ways of telling stories as well. Like
Yes.
he's very much said that this is something very experimental, and if you want to support Big Finish, going into these new areas and really pushing the boundaries, then
Yes.
this is the way to go. Because I think it's fair to say that there has been criticism out there from people who are fans of the earlier days
Yeah,
of
early 1 to 50s, the Big Finish were just so experimental because I don't think they had any restrictions by the BBC because as far as the BBC was concerned, Doctor Who was somewhat of a dead horse, and
yeah.
Big Finish was
It's
just keeping the
before
flame
the
alive.
revival came along, so yeah,
So
which is hard to think about a time like that, particularly for us where we were still quite young when Christopher Eccleston took to our screen in 2005. But yeah, Big Finish, nearly as old as us.
yes,
Which,
yes,
I mean, we're still quite young. We feel young
yeah, yeah.
sometimes, but for a company going around that long, it feels different, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does.
And so, yeah, it's rather wonderful that Big Finish are able to start taking some risks with this. And yeah, I mean, one way Tim Foley's described it in his blog post is I like to think of it as the Village trilogy of 2003 shot through a kaleidoscope.
Which,
Which is,
those three stories of the Villains trilogy is so well loved and regarded, like Master, Davros, Omega, some of the finest Big Finish out there.
quite experimental ones as well, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, because they're putting the villain at the center and trying to weave the Doctor into it, and you can definitely see it with Morbius, with what they're going for with that, and I can see the correlation there.
Yeah, and Morbius is a fairly unexplored villain, actually.
Mm.
Look at that. Uh,
So
yeah, so...
Oh, go on.
Oh, no, you go first.
I was just going to say, so that means there's quite a rich sort of tapestry there to sort of mine and explore, because obviously we've got like the cult of Morbius and all that, which would be great to explore.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. But yeah, it's also intriguing how Tafoni describes the way this story is told. Like, he's described it as more of a novel, really.
Yes, disc
And I
one
think
is chapter 1 to 3. The second disc is chapter 4 to 6, and then the third disc is chapter 7 to 8. So you're gonna need to pick up all 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's another interesting thing that he said it was planned as a box set.
Yeah.
But obviously at some point along the line, things changed. So, I mean, that's another discussion in itself when it comes to Big Finish and the rise of single disc releases. And don't you worry, we will be doing a video on that too. But yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, it makes things more expensive. On the other hand, you get individual cover art, and you get, to make it more of an event, really. You take your time with it. You get to savor these things a bit more as you wait for the months between the cliffhangers. So yeah, it'll be an interesting experience, I think. And yeah, I'm curious to what different approaches they'll take with the other villains as we make our way through.
Yes, because we know some of the other villains in Dark Gallifrey, such as the War Master, who's after Morbius.
Yeah, that will be so Morbius is from April to June of this year, and then War Master will be taking the reins for July through September. Then we take a break. We're back for April to September for the following 3 years. Which, I mean, yeah, that's mad to think about, but this won't finish until 2027.
Obviously, it'd be interesting to see if there is a big overarching thing with this.
I mean, they've said there is something going on there. And I mean, in the synopsis for the final part of Morbius, it says, but perhaps even the Doctor cannot stop the threat of a Dark Gallifrey, ellipses. So certainly something there is going on. A Dark Gallifrey presumably means more than just, the darker side of Gallifrey society in the Renegades that this series highlights.
Yeah, so hopefully that sort of years of waiting, the payoff is going to be there.
Yeah, fingers crossed, because certainly there are some years to wait for this one.
Mm.
They'll fly past, sadly.
Oh, absolutely,
At the same time, again, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Telling something this huge. Because on the one hand, it gives you a certain scope and scale that smaller releases don't provide. But on the other hand, when you're waiting however long between releases, you're at risk of, particularly if it's quite a in-depth arc that you're going for, but there's lots to remember and keep track of. If you're taking 6 months on, 6 months off, you're at the risk of the audience forgetting some of the important details they needed to know, feeling like they're playing catch-up each time a new release comes along, and then losing interest.
Yeah, you don't really want to keep revisiting the series year after year.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's really good, which hopefully it will. But yeah, still, you don't want to feel like you have to do homework when a new release comes along.
Because there's enough coming out to, go through the back catalogue again.
Yeah. But, I mean, overall, I think it's looking promising. I'm still not 100% sold on this.
Yes.
Mainly because it's such a high price point to pick up the whole thing,
Mhm.
but at the same time, you end up spending more if you go at it individually. But it's less risk to go at it, one bundle at a time, because then at least if it's for you or not as you go.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, Tim Foley has promised that, hey, if one of these isn't for you, the next will be very different. So maybe that will be.
I mean, Morbius definitely is quite an intriguing start because, like we said, it's a character not that explored by Big Finish, only in the Eighth Doctor adventures in Sisters of Flame and Vengeance of Morbius. So I think this is kind of a good place to start, I would say.
Throwing Tom Baker in could never hurt.
And the stuff, Tim Foley said in his blog that it was sort of inspired by The Sea of Ice by Caspar David Frederick. And you instantly see Khan from that painting.
Yeah, I get what you mean there.
So I'm like you. I'm very much on the fence. I'm intrigued by it, but I'm not entirely ready to commit just yet to it.
Yeah, I hope it's good. I mean,
you hope it's good. Yeah,
especially with the amount we spend on Big Finish.
Yeah.
We hope every release we get is good. Like, we don't want to spend money on something just to hate it. But I think, because Big Finish can be quite expensive at times, it sets up your expectations even higher. You want it to live up to that. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it sounds intriguing, Dark Gallifrey. And certainly, the more I see, the more on board I get, which is always a good sign. Yeah, I mean, let us know what you think about Dark Gallifrey now that some light has been shed on it. Still very much overarching story details are in the dark, but I think Tim Foley's little blog post here really has helped to sell me a bit more on it.
Yeah.
Give me a bit more faith in this series. And also, it just helps explain things in a way that doesn't spoil them. Definitely worth a read. I'm sure a link to it will be down in the description below, because it's the basis of this video, really, and a little bit of the news articles as well. I mean, looking forward to getting some War Master details.
Yeah, be interesting to see how that compares to a normal War Master box set.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 3 episodes all written by one writer, then that already differentiates it from the current War Master stuff, where that is, sort of like loosely connected stories, but all written by different writers, all doing their own things that sort of ties together in the final episode. It'd be nice to get something with more a clear vision throughout. But yeah, I think that's all we have to say about this Dark Gallifrey for now.
Yes.
So, sound off. We hand it over to you now, dear listener. Sound off in the comments below how you are feeling about Dark Gallifrey at the moment. Have you already pre-ordered? Have you pre-ordered the whole 24 releases? Have you pre-ordered just the first 6? Let us know. And we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.